Now I want to talk about archaeology a little bit broader context. It's what's called underwater archaeology. There's a little university in Texas called Texas A&M, and they're the Aggies. So one of the things they've done very well is begun building up interest in underwater archaeology. It's the same process of archaeological excavation. It's just that you're doing it under the sea, and they're finding artifacts, of course, shipwrecks. Of course, some of the most common. Hard to find cities. There are a few places where you find cities under the sea, but mainly it's shipwrecks they excavate, which you can see here. It's nice because you can use suction hoses from the surface to suck up the debris.
I say because the water makes it easier to probably move dirt a little bit faster.
The problem is you can move it faster, but it also muddies the water when you're excavating. So suction hoses work better because it pull it out and it sucks all the mud in without it having to get murky, so to speak. But anyways, you can see the vessels that were once carried in a ship at the surface. The ship has gone down, and now they're looking at how it sits on the bottom of the ocean floor. They have markers that mark off different parts of the grid and the location of different artifacts when they photograph it. Anyway, you can see just a storage area of the ship. They call them amphora, storage jars. Some cases, statues. One of the cities that's under the sea, now it's not Atlantis, they haven't found Atlantis. It's Alexandria. Alexandria in Egypt, because they built the Aswan Dam, the sediment that would keep the Nile Delta above the ocean is being trapped behind the Aswan Dam. And so the coastline is sinking, it's subsiding. And a major part of ancient Alexandria is underwater now. So they can excavate Alexandria using underwater archaeology. And you can see the statues that are part of the city. This is a famous shipwreck off of the coast of Turkey today. It dates from the 15th century, no, 14th century BC, so around 1350. What's interesting about this shipwreck is not only do you have very well preserved beams in the ship, but you can see that evidently when it went down very even because the storage jars are still stacked inside of the hull as they were when it went down. This is a diagram that shows how they were tied together. You have these different planks, and the pointed end of the storage jars are just sort of stuck down into them here, you see? And then they had rope that tied them together to keep them from rolling around. Any guess what this might be? They're anchors made out of stone. So that's the anchors to hold the ship safely on the bottom. They didn't get them out, I guess. And what you see here are stacks of copper ingots. Here they are cleaning them. Look at that guy's feet. My good, he must have tough feet. But you can see the ingots, again, are also stacked along the hull of the ship, the inside. It's what the ingot looks like when they got it cleaned. It has horns on four ends to make it easier to carry. An ingot is just raw material. You put it into some shape for transportation. It'll be melted down and added with tin to make bronze. So you can see bronze sword, that's a Canaanite sword that was found on the shipwreck. And another Canaanite swords, Canaanite spear points, and so on. They found a lot of white crusty stuff that they weren't really sure of what it was initially. Any guess what the white crusty stuff might be found with all this copper? It's tin. That's what you add to copper to make bronze, tin. So it makes sense if you're carrying that much copper, they'd be trading tin also so that people could make their bronze. Anyway, here's a diver showing you how they would carry it. The horns are to get a nice hold on it. So you put those on your shoulders. They also found the gold goblet. This has always excited me to see a solid gold goblet sitting on the floor of the ocean. But what's gold at now? 1800 an ounce? Is that it? So now I'm even more excited. Because back then it was like 400 an ounce. Now it's $1,800 an ounce. So imagine what that goblet's worth. These are scarab seals from Egypt. This particular scarab seal, that's a person's finger there to give you an idea of scale. Obviously not a hand model. Probably some diver's hand. But this shows that that's the width of his finger, right? So you can see how small this gold scarab seal is. But the name in it is Nefertiti. Who was Nefertiti? The queen of Egypt, 1350 BC.